Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And like always, don't normally start videos like this. Still want to preference that I am still sick. I kind of will probably do this for the next couple videos if I'm still sick and feeling under the weather. But nonetheless, welcome to the final installment of Naofumi, the legendary Spartan hero. And this is titled Sparta. I hope you guys remember where we left off, because that's exactly where we're going to be leaving off, or at least transitioning toward the second wave. And if you enjoy, make sure to leave a like, sub, comment down below, all that good stuff. And also make sure to check the description for any links, stuff like that. And yeah, I'm not going to waste much more of your time, and let's just get right into the what if. Let's get it. Naofumi now knows. He knows the power that he holds. Not only that he holds, but that the entirety of Sparta holds. Yes, he is far from his home. Yes, he is far from the war that he once known. But still, he's going to make sure that he carries the power of Athena, the goddess of war and wisdom, alongside of him, of himself. So that's exactly what he'll do. He'll charge into battle head first. And after basically taking a couple trips around the area of Melremark, the second wave would begin. The second wave would finally start, and Naofumi would charge forward with his party and his spectral army and would slay every monster in sight, leading them to finally coming across the main boss. Of course, he stayed near the other villages to protect them initially, but now he's right in front of the main boss that the other three heroes seem to be struggling with. Nonetheless, Naofumi throws his spear like a catapult. Tons of spears follow, and the Soul Eater that was once summoned is now destroyed. In an instant, the Soul Eater is obliterated. There is a new feel to the army that Naofumi holds. There is a new feel to the power that he holds. Another Soul Eater arrives, and before Naofumi can tell his archers, his spectral archers, to release the arrows, it dies. How did it die? What the hell? Did one of you do that? They try to take credit, but just as they do, the person that truly killed that Soul Eater appears. And it's a woman. A woman by the name of Glass, wielding two twin-bladed war fans and wearing a black kimono, staring daggers into the other heroes as she walks down and stares at Naofumi. You're different. You look different than what I expected. I was expecting the shield hero. You damn well have a shield. But why are you using a spear as well? I'm no shield hero. I'm far from it, actually. They know me as a Spartan, the leader of the Spartan army, the vessel for Athena. I'm a person that will follow the lead of the goddess herself, the goddess of war and wisdom, and I will channel that power that she grants me into every war, every battle I step in, and my followers will follow suit. Naofumi slams his spear on the ship that they're standing on as the spectral Spartans begin to appear everywhere, as if they're scouring all over the mountains with their bows, and tons show up right beneath them with their spears ready to throw. Now, you leave this place or you die. It's simple. Naofumi stands his ground, putting his shield out, and basically just gets ready with his spear. Glass shakes her head and says that it's either him or her, and it's really that simple. She blasts away the other three heroes as Naofumi stands his ground, blocking the blast coming his way. The blast is nullified entirely. Naofumi stands his ground and begins to charge forward one step at a time until Glass begins to get overwhelmed by his entire party. He has party members scoured throughout the world, and they all joined up together to fight Glass herself. But Philo and Raphtalia are the main threats of Glass, obviously including Naofumi. They immediately close the distance, and the fight is put right on the back foot of Glass. She cannot even withstand most of the attacks. The katana slices, the blades that are getting shot from Philo's feathers, anything you can think of, anything that is even possible is happening. Naofumi is just slowly but surely weakening Glass over and over, just like how the Spartans would degrade the armies that would stand in front of him. Glass may be powerful, but she is out of her league at this moment. Out of her league by a mile. Naofumi continues the assault, continues to push forward until Glass eventually is forced to retreat, telling him that she will be back and that she will win this fight at the end of the day. Naofumi stands his ground. Yeah, you won't, because long-term wars are our thing. You're on our territory. Trust me, you'll never win this battle. Glass then leaves as Naofumi puts away his spear on his back, knowing that the wave is now officially over. The wave crumbles into nothingness and the skies clear as the other three heroes question why he just let her leave. He could have easily taken her out, most likely, if they just all barraged her with attacks. Naofumi shakes his head and basically says that there was no reason. She didn't seem like she wanted to fight in the first place. He knows someone that wants to fight. He knows when someone wants to go to war, when someone wants to brawl, when someone wants to basically fight with him. She was not one of those people. Deep down inside, Naofumi can sense no warrior mentality from Glass, making him question why she wanted them dead in the first place. Naofumi, with that said, heads back to the kingdom with all of the other heroes, or the other three heroes. The king questions the same thing and tells him as some warrior that he really just messed up this time, but the more and the more the king talks, the more and more Naofumi basically knows that he does not care about a word that the king says. He begins to tell him that corruption is upon them in Melromark, that he is slowly but surely losing every loyal piece that he has, and that he'll soon lose his life if he is not careful. Naofumi goes to leave, and the king says that he should be arrested for a threat, but Naofumi says that is no threat, and it's not even a threat coming from him, theoretically. It'd be a threat from someone else. Someone else will come, and someone else will kill him if he's not careful. That this little corruption, that the little game that he's playing, will soon fall to pieces, and he promises that. Naofumi leaves with his party, and he's approached by a shadow that gives him an emblem, but he pushes it away. I already know. Where do you think I'm going? Naofumi just begins to leave as the shadow herself is pretty shocked at the revelation that Naofumi knows exactly what's going on. He knows of corruption. He's seen religions itself take down entire countries. He's seen churches take control of political stances and powers and even have conflict and war. He knows exactly what's happening. He can see the political corruption that the church is currently having. The church of the three heroes. The sword, the spear, and the bow. If the shield hero was supposed to be here, why is his name not engraved in that stone? There's a reason for everything. So Naofumi gathers his troops, gathers everyone that he can even think of, and wants to lay siege to the church. Just as he's gathering everybody up, he actually has someone approach him. It seems that it's the youngest daughter of the king and the queen by the name of Melty. Melty approaches him and says that what he is going to be doing is something extremely drastic and something that she's worried about. Naofumi says that it must be done and that even they can all see the corruption and that is basically going to be upon them very soon, and that she should head to her mother, the queen. He assumes that she is nowhere near that corruption, so hopefully she'll be safe. Melty disagrees, but as she's disagreeing, it seems as if the knights begin to turn. The knights turn and try to plunge their blades into Melty, but luckily the Spartan army stops them in their tracks and kills all of them without allowing them to leave. Melty says that they wouldn't assassinate her, right? Who would want her assassinated? But Naofumi doesn't really answer, thinking that he doesn't want her to feel that her family has basically thrown her out, thrown her to the wolves. So he tells her that she will be safe in a familiar village nearby, and that to not worry, that he'll leave a couple troops there to make sure that nobody goes. She's taken away as she questions more and more, and Rautalia asks if they should have just been honest with her. that that was definitely from her sister. Yeah, I don't know. We'll tell her later. There's no reason to worry about that right now. We have a job to do. Naofumi then begins his siege with his army on the church. The church was not expecting this. The church was not ready for this. The king, frankly, doesn't have enough communication assets with the church, thinking that Naofumi's were blatantly just, threats. They weren't anything that he would take action upon. But that's wrong. He was taking action upon it right now. The church wasn't ready, and many of their people there were immediately killed if obviously they attacked, or just subdued and chained up and brought for imprisonment. Naofumi charges in to look for where the Pope is, the main source of all of this problem, and he finally finds him. The Pope is standing there with a weapon in his hand. Naofumi knows exactly what is in store. A battle for what he believes could be his own life. But nonetheless, he has taken away a ton of people that the Pope need, and frankly, the Pope may be on some dying wishes. Naofumi stands strong as a blast comes soaring his way, but a giant shield appears in front of him, and it just vaporizes into nothingness. The blast goes nowhere at all. Naofumi realizes that he needs, or the Pope needs, magical powers from his various people. But Naofumi has shut down a good portion of them with his army. So at the end of the day, the Pope is lacking in a lot of the power, using anything he could possibly think of to maintain that distance and maintain the power that he once is holding or wants to hold. But Naofumi unfortunately refuses to let him keep that power, throwing multiple spears as the spectral Spartans rain arrows upon him, and the white heavenly gaze of all of this glow begins to surround the Pope as if it was nullifying everything. Immediately the arrows begin to penetrate his skin, and the spears begin to completely capsulize him and just make him still. Naofumi dives in and ends the Pope's life in one foul swoop. Naofumi stands there and basically looks up to the sky with his spear in the air, and thanks Athena, the goddess of war and wisdom, for her help and the granting of power. The white glow was from herself. It seems as if he has reached a new level of power by welcoming Athena into this world. It's as if he now has a brand new version of himself. He is no longer just the regular Spartan hero. It seems that he has unlocked something that, at least the video game version of it, is known as the Bless series. The Bless series is involved with him basically accepting everything and basically finding complete and utter peace. It seems as if Naofumi was able to do just this, and he was able to do it sooner rather than later. Naofumi has found that peace within this world with the army that he's built, the people that he has met, and now he has found the balance between war and also wisdom. The wisdom to know when to not fight, when to stop, when to know when to help and not hurt, but also knowing that war is sometimes needed in this world when there is no backing down from action. Naofumi knows this and knows the balance perfectly, and he now has finished off the church that was so corrupt in the first place. Eventually, the queen would arrive back at the kingdom, shutting down all of basically anything that's left over from the church and punishing the king and also her daughter, telling them that they are basically going to be stripped of their royal titles, and that Naofumi will have more of a political stance in Melromark if he so chooses. Naofumi says that he'll take that political stance, but at the end of the day, he doesn't want much to do with Melromark in its entirety. He doesn't want to be grounded to one country. If they need help, he'll give that help, but he does tend to expand his army across the entire world. The queen, of course, agrees with this idea and thanks him once again for protecting her youngest daughter. And of course, Naofumi says that it's truly no problem, that she can thank the goddess of Athena herself, and that maybe one day they'll all realize that any god that you pray to, if you believe enough, will guide you in the direction of the path of the holy. After some time passes, the queen calls in all the four heroes for a nice meeting. And that meeting just leads to them going to Calmyra. Calmyra and have the archipelago event where they get an extensive amount of experience. At the end of the day, Naofumi would run through the entirety of the Calmyra archipelago event. Frankly, Naofumi has an entire spectral army that, if used properly for training, would obliterate monster after monster, especially in giant hordes. Naofumi would gain extensive amounts of training. On top of Raphtalia and Philo, they both get a lot of levels, so it would be relatively easy for them to just rack up a ton of experience points. But Naofumi knows the deal between training and also rest. He knows that you do need rest in terms of basically proper usage in war and fighting. So Naofumi decides that he will have his entire party rest for that day. So they begin resting. Philo goes out for a swim, and so does Raphtalia, and they actually do come across something, this odd looking building, and it seems to have a dragon's hourglass right in it. Right underneath the entirety of this big lake / ocean type of thing. It seems as if there's a giant temple with a dragon hourglass with a ticking timer of 2 days. It seems that there is a wave bound for Calmyra in a matter of 48 hours. So Naofumi tells the queen, tells anybody he needs to tell, so they get ships out there ready for another war. One sooner than probably expected ever. Naofumi stands his ground on the ships, and so do the other heroes, ready for a fight. Naofumi hopes that their training actually fulfilled them properly, and that they can keep up with some of these other beings that are soon to come. Naofumi waits on the wave to begin, and as the entire sky begins to change and get cloudy, it seems like it just does. Tons of these smaller fish come and try to basically take out the ships that they're on, but Naofumi heads toward the main boss. Immediately, he raises his spear to the sky and tells everybody that this is a fight in the name of Sparta. Throwing his spears with all of his force, Raphtalia and Philo diving in toward the creature, the spears begin to puncture it as if it were some doll filled with pins and begin to destroy the big monster. The other heroes complain that they didn't even get a chance to fight it, but Naofumi just shrugs, saying that they were just too slow. After that remark, the arguing halts when a new monster approaches, but it's not a monster, it's two people by the name of Lark and Therese. Naofumi has seen these people around, but he wouldn't have thought that these were actually people just like Glass. That Glass came from another world, at least that's what it seems, and transported via the waves, and was here to fight. They seem to be just like Glass. They're here to fight as well. They basically make that abundantly clear, and Naofumi says that he'll stop at nothing to stop them, but he also doesn't want this fight to be prolonged. There is no reason for this. As a warrior himself, he can tell that there is no warrior spirit within them. They just want to protect, and that's all they would want. Naofumi has an urge to protect, yes, but he also has an urge for war. He was grown in it, bred by it. This is all he knows. So of course Naofumi can sense that warrior spirit from a mile away, and he does not sense it with Lark and Therese. Lark, a little bit, but not to the point that he would know that Lark is some true warrior that just wants to fight. Naofumi says this abundantly clear, and says that if the fight must go down here, that they will die. They will be slain, and there will be no remorse in that regard. Naofumi plants his spear into the ground as spectral Spartans surround everything around them, basically appearing on boat after boat, and even appearing all around the dead animal and giant fish. Immediately they begin fighting, and it's pretty apparent that Lark and Therese cannot keep up. That they can't keep up with the speed that Naofumi is portraying, and on top of that cannot keep up with the army that he's betraying. Naofumi is the main threat, and they know that. And just as they're going to focus their attention on them, Glass comes out of nowhere and blasts towards Naofumi, a ton of blasts, but nonetheless, they're protected by a giant barrier, a giant shield. Naofumi walks closer to them as his clothing begins to change, changing from that red Spartan color to a nice white color. Naofumi is now seemingly, quote-unquote, this purity of him around him. This aura, this blessed aura, it's as if the color of his clothing is changing, as if he has entered the afterlife. This spiritual presence that he's showing now. The blood of his enemies was shown on the red clothing that he wore. but now it's entirely this pure white color, as if he is some holy being that has transcended beyond just war itself. Naofumi stands there as every blast that hits the basically magical shield that's in front of him eviscerates into nothing. Listen, as the vessel of the goddess Athena, and as Athena speaks to me, she does not want me to kill any of you. She wants me to guide you with her wisdom. Please listen to me when I say these things. We can stop whatever's happening in your world. She knows it. She's told me. I will give you one chance to leave. If not, he then slams his spear on the ground and a bunch of archers ready their arrows. If you refuse to leave, I will be forced to act. They're shocked to see what's happening. Naofumi seemingly 3 times stronger than what he once was. Is he really going to kill them? Can he really just let them leave? Just as they're thinking about this, Glass tells them that it's time to leave, that they'll be speaking with this Spartan hero sooner rather than later. At least that's what they believe. They exit the wave as the other heroes immediately try to yell at Naofumi for doing what he did again. Naofumi looks at them. You do not understand. This was not my choice. This was Athena's choice. And I believe and I trust in my goddess. So if you don't, that is not my problem. Because I am a loyal servant to Athena, to the gods above. Not a loyal servant to you or Melremark. I want all of you to realize that very quickly. Because as a Spartan, I will not obey anybody else besides the gods that deem me worthy. Naofumi makes this apparent as him, his party, and anybody else that wants to follow him basically go off, and he continues his journey throughout all of the other countries, continuously learning and meeting new people, and also gathering new knowledge and people for the fight, the soon to come fight, the fight against something so mythical that he wouldn't even believe it to be real. But that is a story for another day, and this is the end of the legendary Spartan hero, Naofumi. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, sub, and comment down below. As always, I appreciate all the support that you guys give me. I've been keeping myself a bit preoccupied. It sucks that I got sick right when I wanted to actually start expanding and doing other stuff. As you all know, I started a new anime channel, so if you guys want to check that out, it should be in the description below. But yeah, that's about it. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope all of y'all have an amazing day. Later.
I don't wanna waste what's left.